Welcome to today's tutorial. Before we get started, please put your name down in the comments so we can say hi and greet you. Tag some friends if you'd like. But my name is Sonja Chandler with Socks On A Rooster. I have a furniture and decor refinishing business here in Nashville, Tennessee. So today's video is a fun one. It's a holiday video. We're going to be working with the wonderful and amazing pigment dyes, some milk paints, and of course gold leaf, which is one of my all-time favorite products to use. But this is going to be a new take on how to use pigment powders for the holiday season. I've been working with some of these handmade sisal trees and putting them in something special so that we can use them for our Christmas decorations. So I'm excited to show you this. It's another possibility to the endless possibilities that can be imagined with these Amy Howard products, and I can't wait to show you how. Let me get started.
Okay guys, I'm just going to go over my product usage for this video just real quick. I'm clean slate always, clean my spindles, which are going to be the base for my tree, and then this pigment powder bundle is the best thing ever. Okay, I'm using these 4 colors, Hedge Green, Amalfi Coast, Cote d'Azur, and Venetian Brown. But there are 21 colors in this bundle. I say this is a great Christmas gift to ask for. This is amazing. You can use them dry. Those are mica powders I just picked up there. You've got mica powders, comes in the powder form. You can mix them into your glazed over. You can do what we're going to do with them today, and that is just a staining technique. You can mix your own paint colors, but they are amazing. Every artist, every furniture artist, everybody who creates needs to have these in their supply cabinet. They're amazing, and I'll show you how. Okay, so here we have some squirt bottles. They're like condiment bottles. I have my gloves on because these do stain your hands, which is what we want to happen because we're going to stain our tree. So I have water here. That's water. And there's a bottle of alcohol there. Now, I just stained these pink trees with water. The only reason I'm using alcohol is because I want my sisal fibers to dry quicker. They stay damp a lot longer. But again, those pink ones there to the left were a thicker bottle brush tree. I make these trees, and sometimes I make them very, very thin, and sometimes I make them thicker. But what we're going to do here is we're going to take these condiment bottles. You can get those at in a baker's aisle, at the hobby shop. You can get them anywhere. And I'm just going to put, I don't know, maybe a half of a teaspoon of pigment powder down into the bottom of these squirt bottles. You can use as much as you'd like. It depends on how many trees you're going to dye. If you're dyeing or staining, this is not dye, staining trees. Dye is a very different process. So you're going to put a little bit of these powders into your bottle, and I'm just going to put a little bit of alcohol in there because it helps that water evaporate quicker off of my trees. It took a little while, but these are very wispy trees that I'm working with today. And that is a little pebble or a marble. You can drop that into your bottle so when you shake it, it will mix up that sediment at the bottom. And that is exactly what the difference between pigment powders and dyes are. Pigments are going to stay, the sediment is going to stay. You're going to just have like a water that will become your staining agent for whatever you're putting it on. Dyes actually bind and seep into the fibers. Staining, it's just basically laying on the top of the surface. So what you're going to do here, shake these up, and you're going to get a Tupperware container. And you can use a brush as well. I brushed those pink ones with just a brush. I didn't squirt those. And I did try these with spray bottles, but your sediment, your pigment powder, can get into the spray bottle and clog it up if you have too much in there. But this works just as well. You could also put it in a cup like I just did that. I dipped that tip of that tree down in that little bottle. But the brush works beautifully. That is how I did the pink ones. And all you really need is for that pigment liquid to touch those fibers, and it's going to stain just like it would your hand. And there's different variations in these pigment powders of concentration. So here I am using a Côte d'Azur pigment powder, and as I'm squirting it on, it's turning blue, but it's not quite as vibrant as I wanted it to be. And I just felt like even with several applications of allowing the tree to dry and then going back and putting more on, I didn't think it was going to get as dark as I would like. So what I did was I added some Amalfi Coast pigment powder, which is very deep blue. And you can see how blue my water is. That was just adding a little bit of the Amalfi Coast in with the Côte d'Azur powder. And it stained those fibers beautifully. So essentially that's all we're doing. We're staining these. You can use a big long paddle brush here and you can get a lot of bristles done all at once. But really you could barely touch these to them and they're going to stain your fibers. Those fibers are going to grab that color, and it's beautiful. There I am using my Venetian brown. I'm just squirting it over, and then you can take that Tupperware tray and you could dump it right back into your bottle, which is what I did. But you can dip a brush down into the liquid that's in the pan, and there I am sitting them just on a paper towel to dry, but I'll take that entire pan and dump it back into my bottle. So here is my hedge green. It's a beautiful green pigment and very exciting. I mean, look how soft and pretty those colors are coming out. Again, your sisal fibers need to be light or bleached. These are natural color. But here I am, watch me pour that back in. I'm just pouring that back in, and you can pour a little water down in there, and all your pigment sediment and the water can go back into your squirt bottle to be used for many more trees. And they turned out beautifully. They're soft and pretty, and you can come back and do another coat if you like. But you're just going to let these dry, and then you can do it again if you'd like. But I liked the soft stain of these, and that's basically what they're going to look like. They're just going to look like they're stained. If you wanted really deep heavy colors, you would want to have to use a dye. There I am just pouring my pigment stain back into my bottle for a later use. Now we're moving on to the bases for my trees, and I have some spindles here. These are raw wood spindles, so I did not have to use clean slate on these. And since they had no stain, I am staining them with gel stain, one of my favorite products. It smells amazing, and this English walnut color is one of my favorite colors. I love to put it under a lot of things that I ultimately milk paint. So I am going to use milk paint over these stained spindles. So I'm just getting that stain on there. I just did one coat. And you can find these spindles anywhere, antique stores, different things like that have them, old spindles that people have not used or thrown away. And here I am mixing up my milk paints to put on my spindles. Now I have some blue milk paint mixed there onto the right. You can see I did that a couple days ago, and that's ready to go. But this one, when you're mixing it new, I have some My Linen Apron right there, and I put a little bit of Sunday Suppers in it to give it just a deeper cream color. And I don't shake my milk paints. If you watched my videos before about me mixing milk paints, I mix it very slow and with a paintbrush. You can shake your milk paint and strain it if you like, and some people are used to doing that, and that is completely fine. I just mix mine very slowly with a paintbrush, and it stops from any bubbles or foam from forming on top. So I can sit that aside and let that continue to dissolve while I use my Central Park. And this is Central Park milk paint. I mixed it several days ago. It'll settle in the bottom, so you need to remix. But I'm going to talk about how we can use milk paint in different variations here. Okay, here it is very runny. And a lot of people will shy away from using milk paint because it runs and it is drippy. It can be drippy. And that is totally normal. But you can also thicken it up. Now you're going to see me here in a minute kind of tilt my container sideways and use some of the sediment. Now every few minutes you're going to want to stir that up at the bottom. But you can use that to your advantage. See me scooping that sediment at the bottom, and you can paint with it. That creamy sediment at the bottom does not run as heavily as the watery part of your milk paint mixture. So test it out. I hate to see people shy away from using milk paints just because it can be drippy or messy. It creates such a beautiful finish that you don't want to not use it. It's just making it work for you. And so if you want to do it a little bit thicker and more opaque, you can have a creamier milk paint. Now, your underneath stain will not show as much, or if you're going to remove it with some of that milk paint with antique glaze or with a removal of pulling some of that away, it will be a little bit harder, but it can still be done. So I would say try it in different concentrations and then, see what works best for you. So here I'm going back to the cream, my linen apron with a little bit of Sunday suppers mixed in, and I'm just mixing it again. You just want to make sure there are no granules in it. Nothing that feels sandy or granuly. Just make sure it's all mixed up. And it mixes and dissolves very well, fairly quickly. Depending on, how much water you use. So just mix that up, and I'm just getting that on, and I'm putting that right over my English walnut gel stain. And I'm going to pull some of that away so you can see that beautiful English walnut stain underneath. And it's going to give it a very, very rustic, old world antique look. It's going to make it look like these spindles are very much older than they are. The antique ones already lend themselves to looking old, but these new ones, you can make them look just as old. Also about those antique ones, a lot of times when you use the water-based milk paint, you can have old stains and finishes bleed through. And I see a lot of people ask questions online, and they're concerned about that. Oh, this is bleeding through. These colors are bleeding through. I actually like working with that myself. I think it adds an antique look to it, and you can add some antiquing glaze or a little bit of wax, and you can kind of move and blend that in, and it will just add to that old aged look of your spindles. So one extra little thing I'm going to show you here is a glaze, and I will mix up these glazes and keep them on my shelf to use all the time. And I'll use very neutral colors of glazes so I can use them on several things. Here I am putting them over the English walnut gel stain, and this is one of my favorite finishes. The old English walnut stain color with that. This is a luxe gray glaze, custom glaze I've created, and it's absolutely stunning when you see it. It's that dark, beautiful stain with the glazed over, and I'll just mix those up and keep them on my shelf. So I have one that is made with Serengeti gray. I have one that is made with luxe gray, and I will use them. The secret is today I'm going to put this luxe gray stain over every type of spindle I've painted. So here I am going over the Central Park milk paint. And if you love that light milk paint finish that comes from when it dries, you can keep it that way with a little bit of wax, or you can come in with a glaze or a tinted glaze like this luxe gray glaze, and it will bring you back almost to that wet form look of that Central Park milk paint. So if there's any time that you're doing a project and you're like, wow, I really wish I could keep that milk paint looking dark in that darker color, you just want to seal it with something that will make that darker. Even the glaze will dry up a little bit lighter, but you're going to have a darker finish on your milk paint. And here I am going over my linen apron. So I used this Luxe Gray custom glaze that I made on all three colors. I used it on the English Walnut, straight on that. I used it on the Central Park. And now I'm using on my linen apron. And you can see how just one glaze works on all three. That's a little Christmas bonus for you. How it's a great idea to make several glazes and keep them on your shelf. And you can use them for many different things. But there they are, all finished, and in their little spindle, there's the blue with the Venetian brown stained leaves. All right, there's the blue with the Venetian brown stained. And those look beautiful together, those colors. And then here is the My Linen Apron base with the Amalfi Coast blue combination. And then here are the stained spindles with the Luxe Gray over the top with the green, the hedge green. And then these little pink ones I just put those in the raw spindle. Didn't paint the spindle, those are just by themselves. And so there you have it, all together there, in many different color combinations, and the pigment powders work beautifully. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video today. I hope you'll try these pigment powders for yourself, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Thanks for watching.